Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. Listen up. WynnBET is now live in all these states, and the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas has finally landed in online sports betting and casino play. From boosted parlays to live in-game offs on every major sport, WynnBET gives you the tools to win. Sign up today for your risk-free $1,000 sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com to start winning.
You're listening to the Huddle Up Podcast with Chad Jensen and Zack Kelberman. Join Broncos Country's deep divers at milehighhuddle.com and sound off. And now it's time to drop some knowledge.
Welcome in, everybody. It is the Huddle Up Podcast, presented, as always, by Mile High Huddle and powered by Blue Wire Podcasts. I'm your host, Chad Jensen, and with me, my fellow football priest. You know him. You love him. He is Zack Kelberman. Zack, the NFL, hey, you never have to question or wonder if they're going to fail to exploit a really good, juicy storyline. They showed out in force on that front, scheduling the Denver Broncos against the Seattle Seahawks. It's a road game to open the season on Monday Night Football. Could we hope to maybe see Russ versus Locke? I mean, the universe might explode.
Either Russell Wilson versus Drew Lock or Russell Wilson versus Geno Smith. I like the Broncos' chances. In primetime Monday Night Football, you couldn't buy a primetime game for the Broncos last year. They open up with one. They have several on their schedule. I can't wait for Russell Wilson to stick it to Seattle in primetime at Seattle in front of his former adoring fans. At first glance, I like how the schedule shook out. They have their home opener against the Texans the following week, but week one already. Scott and I talked about it on Broncos for Breakfast earlier this morning. When you have a game that you can get up for, when you have a quality opponent, and quarterback aside, Seattle is a quality opponent compared to last year anyway, the Broncos and Russell Wilson will be getting up for this game. I literally cannot wait till it's Monday night.
Can't wait. It's going to be a gas. And yes, guys, you might notice we're trying out some something new on our background look. So we're vibing out. We got some things in the works, but so much to get to. I think, Scott, as we had some very generous superstars right out of the gates, like John Sandoval jumping in early, just wanted to give you a shout out, guys, and then we're going to dive into the content. Trust. Thank you, John. Sam Bam Udom, and pardon me, with a very generous super. We will get to the Jerry Jeudy stuff. He says the Jerry Jeudy news kind of ruins the schedule release excitement. Hopefully this doesn't involve a suspension, but not going to hold my breath. Ugh. Appreciate you, Sam Bam. Put a pin in that. We're going to come back to it. Trust. And then, of course, we've got Michael Ronquillo throwing down, giving us positive vibes and greetings. I just had a guitar pick stuck to my – that's how you know I'm a rocker, dude, when I've got an actual – guitar pick stuck to my forearm. Michael, you the man, dude. Love you. Seriously. Thanks for being here. All right, let's go through this. For those of you listening, let's go through this schedule, lay it out. I mean, I know you're dying to find out who the Broncos are playing in the preseason. Well, let's go ahead and break that ice. Dallas Cowboys at Buffalo, and then home again for the Minnesota Vikings. The regular season, as we mentioned, opens on Monday Night freaking Football against the Seahawks. Count it so far, one primetime game. Week 2, back home opener, as Zach mentioned, against the Houston Texans. Week 3, the San Francisco 49ers at home on Sunday Night Football. That's 2 primetime games. Week 4, at the Las Vegas Raiders. Week 5, at home, Thursday Night Football, another primetime. That's 3. All right. Week 6, at the Chargers. Also, Monday Night Football. Holy smokes, man. The Broncos, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 already. Golly, primetime. All right, New York Jets at home, week 7. And then this is when they travel to face the Jacksonville Jaguars at Wembley Stadium, October 30th. That's week 8. And that's going to be early and on ESPN+. And then they get their bye week. Cool. So they travel, Zach, and then we'll get the second half of this. They travel for that. That's a pretty serious gauntlet to open up the season, but it's nothing to, I think, worry too much about. There's some quality opponents there, but that's something you can navigate.
Yeah, I'm looking at it in front of me, and I actually have a tweet I'm composing mid-podcast The first half of the schedule, if you look at it, is much more favorable than the second half. You look at the Broncos' final 6 games, we'll get to it in a second. That's a murderer's row. So you have to collect the wins. We talked about it last year. You have to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. So I'm looking at the Texans. I'm looking at the Seahawks, quite frankly. I'm looking at the Colts, the Jets, the Jaguars, and one of the Raiders or the Chargers, if not both. The Broncos have to win these games. They have to be, I believe, going into week 9, no worse if they really want to compete for the West than 7-2.
Agreed. So we come out of the bye, the wounds have been licked, and it's a tough test against a playoff opponent, the Tennessee Titans, on the road. Then it's back home week 11 to face the Raiders. On the road again, going to the East Coast to play the Panthers. Then we come back, or no, we're still on the road, East Coast. So 2 East Coast games in a row at the Baltimore Ravens. And Baltimore, look, they had some struggles last year. I view them as a playoff quality opponent on this schedule. Then when they come back week 14, take on the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. This, I think, Zach, is going to be that pinnacle moment of snapping the streak. It might happen. I'm going to believe this is when it's going to happen. All these previous Broncos Chiefs primetime games, last year notwithstanding, where they just get absolutely embarrassed. I think that's a thing of the past. All right, week 15, home, 2 in a row. Arizona Cardinals 2 at home. Kansas City, then Arizona. Week 16 on the road at the Rams. And that's the one that is, of course, on Christmas Day. It's going to be televised on CBS and Nickelodeon. Slime time, baby. On the road again at Kansas City. And then home, final game of the season, Los Angeles Chargers. So, Zach, I want your thoughts on that final slate to kind of suss out what you had mentioned earlier about the second half. But should we be viewing the Chargers similar to the Ravens as a playoff caliber worthy opponent?
Yeah, I tend to, until proven otherwise, given the Brandon Staley, coaching and given the quarterback play that hasn't led to a playoff berth, I would say Baltimore is a little more of a contender right now than Los Angeles. But you look at that schedule, man, from Baltimore to the Chargers, that's, again, murderer's row. 6 games in a row where you face playoff team after playoff team. It's where you claim your stake, though. If you belong in the tournament, if you belong playing deep into January, you will beat those teams. I'm not saying you have to beat all of them. This is the NFL after all. Parity reigns supreme. But you got to go in there with the confidence that your team is better than Kansas City, better than Baltimore, better than Arizona, better than the Rams, the Chiefs. It could happen. They could go 5-1 in that stretch. But, if not, if they take a nosedive or if they're not as good as we think they are, they could easily go 2-4. But if they're legit, they'll come out on top with a positive record.
But let's go through this real quick. All right, because it's easy to throw out there, 11-6 or 10-7 or 12-5. So I'm just going to go through. And Scott, if you wouldn't mind, get ready for this. Like, keep a note in the chat or something, because I will forget the math midstream. I just don't math well. Zach and I are going to, off the cuff, this is a way too early prediction, but this is just off the cuff. All right, things being as they are today. All right, week 1, Zach, it's on the road. Win or loss for the Broncos at Seattle?
Win. Convincing win.
That's 1 win. Week 2, the home opener against a still bad Houston Texans. Win?
Yeah, Lovie Smith and Davis Mills, I'm not scared. I'll take my chances.
A familiar opponent at home the next week on, once again, the primetime stage in the San Francisco 49ers?
I'm going to say they take the L.
I'm going to take a win here because Russ knows them. I'm just going to say I think they can get this one. Wow, I'm already at 3-0. All right, so I'm 3. You're 2. All right, here we go. At Las Vegas Raiders, week 4, Zach?
I think they win that game.
Okay, so that's 3. I'm going to take that one as my first loss because they've struggled to win in Vegas. All right, so we're both at 3-1. We're opponent depending on how things shake out for them.
I like it. Let Matt Ryan come play in October Denver weather. As mild as it may be to the Coloradans. I know I completely butchered that.
Yep.
But it's not going to be so favorable for Matt Ryan. So W for me.
I agree. I think that's a win. So that's 4-1 at the Chargers on Monday Night Football, Zach.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm going to say loss. Gut feeling.
I'm going to say loss as well.
2 primetime games back-to-back at LA. They'll split.
So what are we at, 4-2?
Yeah.
I think we're both at 4-2. Okay. All right, cool.
Win.
We get to week 7, home against the Jets. I'm taking that as a dub. 5-2. Yeah, Zach?
Yeah.
October 30th, week 8, on the road in London.
Win.
A lot of kind of, exterior factors in play. It's a long ways to travel. Is this a win?
It better be a win.
Yeah.
London or not, it better be a victory. So I'm going W.
I'm taking it as well. All right,
Win.
bye week.
That's a win.
Then the Titans on the road.
Oh man, the Titans are so Jekyll and Hyde though. It's like they can look like world beaters one week and pretenders the next week.
If this was in Denver, dude, I'd take the Broncos. But this one being on the road, I'll take the Titans.
Yeah, same.
So that's 3 losses, both of us. Home against the Raiders, I'm going to take the Broncos in this one. I think they split with the Raiders this year. They win the home game.
I'm gonna go. I think they sweep. So I think I picked a. Did I pick a win in the first game? I think I did, right?
Yeah, you picked a win. I picked a loss.
I see a sweep. Screw you, McDaniels.
At Carolina, week 12.
Win.
I'm going to take that as a win as well. At Baltimore, week 13.
Loss.
I'm going to take that as a loss as well. But that's a game that could go either way.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that we got to remember here is we're not viewing this. It's kind of hard to picture it, right? Your team out there competing in the regular season with Russell Wilson as your quarterback. We got to resist the temptation, or at least the habit of viewing this through the same old prism, right? This isn't Drew Lock. This isn't, Trevor Siemian. This is freaking Russell Wilson. So that could be a win. Instead of just saying, oh, it's at Baltimore, chalk up another L, I'm still going to view it as a loss. This is where the streak ends, Zach. On my birthday, December 11th.
Oh, it's perfect.
Sunday Night Football.
That's
the Broncos are snapping the streak, defeating the Chiefs at home.
Yes, sir. I think they split, so victory.
Then they're home again. Arizona Cardinals. What do you see there?
I don't know what I'm at right now because I have a certain number in mind, and I don't want to go.
Look at Scott. If you can count the digi, 9 wins. Oh, 5 and 4.
5 and 4. Okay.
No, just type it in the chat because we suck. Anyway, we'll come back to it. Just pick the what is it?
I think they beat Kyler Murray. I think they're a
too.
mentally soft team, so victory.
I think it's a win over the Cardinals. Then they go on the road versus the world champs.
I think they're going to lose that game. That's tough.
Here's the only caveat. Russ knows the Rams. This is a team he's competed against his entire career. I'm going to say this is a sneaky upset win on Christmas. I'm going to say on my birthday and Christmas, Broncos get them both. Okay. At the Kansas City Chiefs, this is one I'm just going to say the Chiefs win.
Same.
How about you?
They split, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you said they split. And then lastly, the Chargers at home, though, I'm taking that as a win.
Same.
So Zach, I don't know. I think 12-5, 11-6.
Yep.
I can see the Broncos finishing somewhere in there with this schedule. Guys, we want to hear in the chat what you see. What do you see? Let us know. Drop some knowledge. But man, it's just so fun trying to picture this team competing with Russell Wilson as the quarterback. My mind is trying to will it into existence, and it's still just hard for me to reckon with, similar to when Peyton came here.
Yeah, I have 11-6 for the Broncos right now, and I think that's fair, and I think that's realistic, and it's a huge leap from anything we've seen in the last half decade. They're going to be contenders. They're going to be competing for the West, but a couple games could go here or there. Like you said, though, it's so hard to preview a game on December 18th, for example, in May, when the opponent, the situation, the circumstance is going to change week by week by week by week. We won't know what these teams look like until the season starts, and even then, until the games are actually played. So I think 11-6 is a fair record.
We'll come back to the schedule, but I want to grab what Sam Bam had to say. We don't forget about our Super Chat superstars. Believe. In case you missed it, guys, and Zach had the article for us at milehighhuddle.com. Headline, Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy arrested on charge of criminal tampering. The takeaway here, this was announced by confirmed, I should say, by the Arapahoe County Sheriff's. Quote, professional football player Jerry Jeudy has been arrested by Arapahoe County Sheriff deputies. He's being held at the Arapahoe County Jail on charges of second-degree criminal tampering with a domestic violence enhancer, a misdemeanor. He's on a no bond hold, and of course, he's innocent until proven guilty. Zach, I'm going to go ahead and quote you real quick. Judy, who was remanded into custody at 11:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time, must remain in jail until seen by a judge per the no bond hold. His hearing is likely to occur within the next 24 hours, after which a mandatory restraining order can be issued. What the Sam Hill happened? Zach, break it down for everybody.
Apparently, it is a misdemeanor. That should be worth noting. It's not like a Ray Rice situation, anything too bad from a criminal standpoint. But I believe he had a domestic issue with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend over a phone. There was jealousy. It sounded like a breakup or a fight of some sort that involved an electronic. And as Tom Pelissero explained, in Colorado, that's that would fall under the special domestic extension, whatever extender charge that's added onto it. So he's on a no bond hold right now. He can't be released from jail until he sees a judge. That'll probably happen tomorrow, and they'll go from there. The Broncos are aware of it. It sounds like it's not too serious, but not the best look for Jerry Jeudy, who's been fraught with criticism, had a kind of a rocky start to his career in Denver so far. It's not going to do him any more favors, this incident.
I don't get it, dude. I don't. Come on, Jerry. Look, and I don't like this no bond hold. Pardon me. I don't like the whole no bond thing. Like, I'm not a legal expert here, but someone's got to explain to me why he can't bail out. I don't get that, but nevertheless, if convicted, Jeudy faces criminal punishment of up to 120 days in jail and a $750 fine, none of which, or at least the jail time ain't going to happen as a first-time offender. He could get a fine if convicted, of course. But as you point out here, Zach, even without a conviction, Jeudy can be subject to NFL discipline if he's found to have been in violation of the league's personal conduct policy. And then here's the Broncos statement. We are aware of the matter involving Jerry Jeudy and are in the process of gathering more information.
Yeah, we have more details in the side comments. I just saw it here. Tommy Simmers. I've been so preoccupied with all the avalanche of Broncos news that's come out. This is more detailed of what happened. He withheld a wallet, medicine, and a car seat. He just had another baby, a daughter. Right. That's why he missed Russell Wilson's passing camp. So sounded like a domestic issue, a fight that kind of went sour. He didn't hit her, though. That came out that he did not put his hands on her. It did not escalate. He did not resist arrest. So it could have been worse. Thankfully, it wasn't. It's not a felony. It's a misdemeanor. He'll probably get out of it with like community service or some sort of public statement or apology, anger management, whatever. He should be playing this season, but the NFL takes a hard stance against anything domestic violence related, anything in that orbit. He's a first-time offender, though. He might get off with a slap on the wrist, but the possibility is there that he faces discipline from the league.
Scott points out here, why is it a no-bond hold? Because it's a domestic issue, as Zach By was reporting there. Because bailed out men in the past have then gone after the woman who, in their minds, put him there, right? Like it's revenge too many times. So I guess that does make sense. Tommy, thanks for some of that context, by the way, my friend. So yeah, it's not a good look. What does it mean in the grand scheme of things? Not much, because even if this was something more extreme, which again, it's not good, but it's not like crazy. We're not, as you mentioned, we're not talking Ray Rice here. But even if the Broncos said, oh, this is a Ray Rice thing, goodbye, which is not going to happen, they're going to be okay when you have Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick as your top two wide receivers. KJ Hamler says he's way ahead of schedule on his crazy injuries. We learned a little bit more about what that dude actually went through when he got hurt last year, week 3, and then you got the tight ends and the backs. Like Jerry Jeudy opens things up for you. By all means, you don't want to lose a talent and a route runner that can create separation in different ways than, say, a Sutton or a Patrick. You don't want to lose that. But if push came to shove, Zach, I think the Broncos, especially with Russ, would be okay. But just not a good look for Jerry Jeudy, as we talked about a couple nights ago. Just the way he presents himself at his pressers and things like that. Like, he needed as much PR goodwill as he could get, and this obviously is another debit in the account instead of a credit.
I don't want to use the B word I don't want to put that out there yet, but it's not trending in the right direction for Jerry. I think he can overcome it. I hope he does. But it makes George Paton, I tweeted this earlier, it makes him look smarter and smarter locking up Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick when he did. Not just for the value, but getting two high character players under contract for the long term. He couldn't have predicted Jerry Jeudy. It's a nice side bonus. Thankfully, KJ Hamler's coming back. Thankfully, I guess in hindsight now, Chad, thankfully they drafted Greg Dulcich. You and I both kind of panned that pick, but at least they have another pass catcher now that could fill in if Jeudy takes a nosedive. But I think he'll be okay. I hope he'll be okay because he's only an asset to the Broncos offense. And the sad part is we've never seen what Jerry Jeudy really could be. Running fake decoy jet sweeps isn't what Jerry Jeudy's wheelhouse is. And I would like to see what a competent offensive mind can do with him. I hope they get that chance.
Yes, indeed. The Duchess dropping in. Love you. A Michaela Baum. Thank you. She says, I heard she grabbed Jerry's cell phone, so he got mad and then took her wallet. There was no violence. Not sure how you can get in trouble for that. Weird. Yeah, it depends. And especially when there's children involved and stuff. But people in certain areas, Zach, and thank you, Michaela, in certain areas, withholding someone's phone, their communication device, can be touch and go.
Yeah, and as Tom Pelissero explained, it has special circumstances because of the state laws. And she was the accuser. That's why it was domestic. So it could have been worse. You know, this is not a good thing for Jerry Jeudy, but it's not the worst thing in the world either. Hopefully they can patch things up and they can reconcile, and the Broncos can move forward with one of their talented weapons still atop the depth chart.
All right, we got GLP with he's even more bullish than us. Thank you, Gary. He says, Chad, Zach, and Scott, so stoked about the schedule. You guys sound very conservative. I'm all in. Doesn't mean you're wrong, but he's predicting 13-4. Hey, this is a team that if everything came together, and especially by virtue of the injury bug, Zach, and you're going to need some dominoes to fall in your favor relative to these first-time coordinators and a first-time head coach. So if those things come together, and the glue that could really help those things come together sooner than later is, of course, the presence of a 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback and a guy who's probably destined for the Hall of Fame in Russell Wilson. So if all those stars did align, Zach, I could see a 13-win season. I definitely could. I agree with Scott, though. Probably the over-under on wins for Denver, 10.5. And I'll take the slight over.
As will I. I could see 13-4 being the extreme ceiling if everything goes right, but I'm looking at it realistically. Listen, guys, I cover the Broncos for a living. I've done this for quite a while now. I could easily predict 17-0 if I want to be on the Broncos side, but I'm being realistic and objective looking at this team, not just from a personnel standpoint, but inexperience. You have to figure Nathaniel Hackett's still a rookie head coach. He has nothing but rookie first-year assistants underneath him. There's maybe a gelling period. They might go through stagnation mid-season. These things happen. You have to take it into account. And being called conservative, I've been burned, as have Chad, one too many times about the Broncos and predicting too many wins. So I think 11-6 is still fair, though, considering where they've been in recent years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 11-win season. You're going to the playoffs, that's for sure. And, it could be enough 11 wins to win the AFC West. George Fox, appreciate you, big dog, on Facebook. He says, with the new offense, I say 10-7, but I hope I'm wrong. Denver Broncos for life, MHH for life. Yes, indeed. While we're on this subject, real quick, guys, give you an update on the contest. In the month of February, we have a Demaryius Thomas jersey hanging in the balance for our Facebook community and our YouTube community, respectively. We're trying to reach 200,000 stars in the month of May. If and when we reach that goal, we're going to raffle off a Demaryius Thomas jersey to the winner. The only people in the running for that raffle on Facebook are those who contributed to the goal. And fortunately, Facebook makes it easy on us in keeping track of who has contributed the most and in what order. And of course, it's like, the more someone throws down, the more tickets they'll have in the hat, so on and so forth. Here's the rankings real quick, and we'll jump back on content here. Number 1, Mark Schrader is the leader of the pack this month, followed by Gary Leeds Palmer at number 2, Jacob Foster, Andrew Baker, Phil McLaughlin, Lawrence Rivera at 6, Travis Weber at 7, Andrew Lampy at 8, Pete Middleton 9, and Lena Carter 10. And just a few of the names outside, like Howie freaking Day, Anthony Grove, Pat, Chris Hernandez, etc. So there's an update on Facebook. We'll try and do an update on Super Chats here in just a little bit. But yeah, 10-7. Hey, I still think that would be enough to get you into the dance. And when you have a veteran quarterback, I mean, look at the Broncos when they won their first Super Bowl, that 97 season. This wasn't the juggernaut Broncos. I mean, they were a juggernaut. They became the champs, obviously. But in terms of how they were perceived and some of the holes with the roster, I mean, they were a wild card team. Their mission was, hey, let's just get to the dance. They got to the dance knowing, hey, if we do our thing and we fall in line and kind of rally for the playoffs, anything could happen. And that's exactly what happened, by the way. Hey, Anthony, we'll grab you next.
Yeah, I for as conservative as we've been labeled, I think 10 wins is a little too underselling of what the Broncos are capable of. They got 7 victories last year out of Teddy Bridgewater, Vic Fangio, Pat Shurmur, Drew Lock and company. I think adding 4 more to that, and not so difficult of a schedule if they can get past the second half with a decent record, they can definitely make it happen. I think 11-6 is a good middle ground, but they can, if they hit a stride, they can go 13-4. If they don't, they can maybe go 10-7. That to me is the like you said, the over under. I'm smashing the over.
Anthony Grove, Judy news bad. Seattle week 1 good. Zach and Scott doing the necessary roughness dance. Even better, let's dance and ride. Now, before we actually get to the dance, which it must happen, and I'll join you on these gallows. All right, we'll hang together. We gotta be reminded of exactly how the stand-up comic from the 90s and actor Sinbad, exactly how he kind of moved and grooved in order for us to try and copy this dance. Scott's going to pull it up. So hang tight just a second. We will get to the dance. But Zach, are you ready for this, dude? To cut a rug live on the Huddle Up podcast. Let's go.
What is my life?
You're here for everybody else's entertainment. I mean, that's charge it to the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to see some. I'm a visual learner, so I want to see the dance first, and then I'll try to imitate as best as I can, which will be the worst.
Hold tight just for a minute, Anthony. We're gonna pull that, and we need to party. Here you go. All right, here's my version. I'll make it easy on you, Zach. Party. Yeah, I'm not going to stand up though. All right, because I'm actually just in my pajamas. Just kidding. I'm not in my pajamas, but if I stand up, I'll be out of the frame and all that stuff, and with the blurred background. All right, Zach, let me see it, dude.
Can I do the Macarena? That's what I thought you were doing. I don't know.
I'm just trying to copy. I don't know. I'm not a dancer.
That's all you're getting out of me. All right,
dude. 85 shaking his head is shaking it at us, dude. Look, he looks over to our side on the screen.
I'm shaking my head at my own self.
Right now. But I wish I had those kind of grooves and just that grace that Sinbad has. I mean,
I can't even move my shoulders. I look like I'm spazzing out.
Yeah, right. And look at this man doing it in shoulder pads, no less. I mean, give him his credit.
Now I feel demonstrably worse about myself than I did before the podcast. So.
Hey, thanks for a reminder on that, Anthony. Holding our feet to the fire, It's
a good occasion, though.
All right, let's jump back into the chat here, and I see some activity. Let me scroll up here. StreamYard's being a little bit weird tonight.
Probably saw us dancing.
The stream is like doing a jumpy thing. Zeus McPeak. Zeus is in the house, dude. Legendary figure, Mount Rushmore figure. The first face etched on the MHH Mount Rushmore is none other than Stu McPeak. As you guys know, around here we call him Zeus. Thank you, buddy. It's great to see you. He says, I'm ready for the season. Heck yeah, buddy.
Same, Stu. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Thank you for your generosity as always. How many exclamation points is that? Because that's how excited I am too. Is that like 15?
It's double digits.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
By the way, I don't know if you've made your move yet, but hope everything either is going well or went well or is going to go well on that front, my friend. So best wishes on that. Going closer, or getting closer, I should say, is Stu and his family to the Mecca. Rock Chalk Broncos in the hizzy. Thank you for that super chat, big dog. Love seeing the Broncos getting multiple primetime games. It's great for them to be relevant again. Can't wait for the season to start. Let's ride. Denver Broncos for life and MHH for life. Love it. Yes, indeed. I mean, we could go through, pull it up again, Zach. I mean, the Denver Broncos are once again At least in the NFL's estimation, they're worth watching. This is an important team. So you got the opener, primetime. You've got week 3 at home against the Niners, Sunday Night Football. So the first one Monday night, week 3, Sunday Night Football. Cut to week 5 against the Colts at home. It's a Thursday night game. That's the third primetime game. The very next week, they're in primetime again. Monday Night Football at the Chargers. So in the first 6 weeks, Zach, count them, 4 primetime games. And then to finish the first half of the season, they get, I get it, it's not technically prime time because it's going to be 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time when they kick across the pond, but the scrutiny and eyeballs that are going to be on that game, granted in many respects from outside the United States markets in particular, are going to be paying close, lots of eyeballs watching that game. You could almost count that, but it's not. So we won't at this stage. Still 4. And then you've got the Chiefs in week 14 on my birthday. That's 5. And it wouldn't surprise me, Zach, to see one of these games at the end of the season, depending on how the schedule falls, get flexed.
Yeah, it's amazing what a franchise quarterback can do.
But I guess they can't, right? Isn't there a rule, 5 primetime? I'm trying to remember that now. Those are the type of things I can never remember.
It might be that you only can get awarded 5 at first, and then they can always flex you in later. But I was going to say 4.5 months ago, the Broncos were employing Vic Fangio and Teddy Bridgewater, and they were as irrelevant as they've ever been, and no one gave a crap about them. Now they have 5 primetime games. They're playing in London. George Payton hit a home run with Nathaniel Hackett. He hit a grand slam with Russell Wilson, and you're seeing the fruits of that labor pay off in the form of primetime attention. But I happen to think this might be too hyperbolic. The 49ers game is the first litmus test for the Broncos. I don't think Seattle's that challenging. Obviously, the Texans are a cupcake as a home opener. It's how they fare against the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, under the primetime lights against a really, really stout team, well-coached team. That's going to tell us a lot about Hackett's Broncos.
Are you not entertained? I think of that great gladiator Maximus, and that's what I think of when I remember back on Zach and I doing a very poor imitation of the Sinbad dance from Necessary Roughness. GLP, very glad to see that we're at least entertaining you, my friend. Tim throwing down some big boy stars tonight. I mean, like top rope stars. Thank you, my friend. I think you just like doubled what the entire community, what we've been able to do in the month of May, like with one throwdown. So Tim, you're a prince. Tim Hoffman, love you, big dog. He says, I love this schedule and the optimism. Can't wait for Russ to play in Seattle and walk away with a win. Go Broncos. Zach, Russell Wilson gets the chance to exercise the Seahawks demon like right out of the gates. So if things go well and you expect the Broncos, even though it's a road game, it's going to be an extremely hostile environment. Think back to when Peyton Manning returned to Indianapolis and it was a hard-fought game, but all the emotions of it, he wasn't the same guy. And the Broncos got beat pretty handily by the Andrew Luck-led Colts in his first game against the Indianapolis Colts as a Bronco. I don't know. I think Russ won't maybe be quite so in his head over it as Peyton obviously was, if you guys can think back. I know it's been a decade, but still, you get past Seattle, you exercise that demon, you're Russell Wilson. From there, I'm not going to say it's all downhill, but some weight lifted off your shoulders.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'd rather play Seattle in early September than play them in December. So the Broncos, got a lucky break in that respect as well. Everyone's talking about Russell Wilson for good reason going back to Seattle and that grudge match, but also Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant. That's 3 former Broncos facing their former team as well on prime time, Monday Night Football. The glare of the primetime lights, national attention. It's going to be a slobber knocker. I think the Broncos are going to win going away in the fourth quarter. We'll get into that as the months roll on, but this is going to be a nice tune-up matchup for Denver in week 1.
Andrew Baker. Yo, dude. Good to see you. Thank you for the stars throwing down, representing. He says, what's up, my fam? A great season prediction. I'm more feeling 12-5, but what the Sam Hill is up with famous people like NFL players and Johnny Depp and Amber, who have everything but nothing at the end of the day. Hashtag smack my head, LOL, Scott. Hashtag MHH for life. Yeah, I mean, I don't even far be it from me, Zach, to ever search out anything on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard saga, but YouTube keeps serving it up to me. Maybe it's because of it's what my daughter looks for. My daughter, she spends a lot of time on YouTube, and I make her do it on my account so I can monitor what she's looking at. Maybe it's reading some of the things she sees and might be interested, but I made the mistake one time of, at least the way my YouTube is set up on my phone, if I finish a video, it'll autoplay whatever's next on YouTube's list or whatever. And I got a Depp thing, and it was like a comedic deal. It is crazy to see these very wealthy. Now, Johnny Depp's net worth, for what it's worth, dwarfs Amber Heard's, but still, it's a good example, guys. As we think to ourselves, if we could have the money, we'd be happy. Doesn't change you as a person. So the demons you have, the strengths, the weaknesses, the character flaws, the character strengths. It's kind of like that old saying, Zach, wherever you go, there you are. Same principle applies to whether you have money or not. I'd rather have problems and have to deal with who I am and my unique struggles, though, with a few million in the bank like Depp and Amber Heard have, though, if I could, right?
Yeah, people are people. And I believe it was Jay-Z who said you can pay for school, but you can't buy class. And it's so true. Money can't buy everything. And you're seeing some very nasty traits come out on both sides. I haven't been following that. And to your point, all it takes is one click for the algo bots to lock you in for life. But, people are people, and money doesn't change that. Money only actually brings those problems to the surface faster than they would otherwise.
Am I the only one that was just thinking Depeche Mode right there? Yeah. People are, isn't that Depeche Mode, Scott? People are peoples. Charlie, what's up, bro? You dumb man. Thank you for the stars, my dog. Very nice to have you in this conversation. Yeah, guys, we want to continue to hear from you what you see unfolding with this schedule that we went over at the top of the show. And if you're just joining us, we can throw it back on here and do a little scroll for you so you can see what the Broncos are dealing with here on their 2022 regular season schedule. Okay. I think I see Naj, but for some reason, as I scroll, I'm not seeing it where I can actually grab it, Scott. Do you? I see him at the top, but every time I scroll, I don't see him. There's the Duchess. Miguel, in the meantime, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Miguel, where have you been, big dog? He says, I really don't like predicting records until somewhere around week 5 because the NFL is so unpredictable. Good finally catching a late show. It's great to have you, Miguel. And that's one of the reasons, Zach. There's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons why the NFL is king is the parity. You get a schedule, the NBA or even MLB or in many respects college football, and you can out of the gates kind of predict, who the playoff contenders are going to be, all that stuff. And with the NFL, every year there's multiple teams, first to worst, worst to first, all that stuff. And that's one of the joys of watching the NFL.
Yeah, there's only 17 of these games, 18 weeks. It's not 162 or 80, however many is in hockey. You only get 17 of these, so you have to make each one count. And yeah, parity reigns supreme. And you can go from worst to first in a matter of one season. It doesn't have to be a 3-year rebuild. That's why I've been laughing at that notion for quite a while now when it comes to the Broncos, just because they have a new quarterback, as good as he is, a new head coach as tantalizing as he is. They can go from 7-10 to, I'm not going to say 17 and 1, but or 17-0, but they can go 11, 12 wins easy. That's the NFL nowadays.
Travis, what's going on, Big T? He says, I'm sorry I'm a bit late tonight. Had to work late. All good. You got to bring home that bacon, my dog. He says, but hey, I called it Seattle week 1. I hope Judy can escape any harsh punishment in his arrest. Yes, indeed. We do too. Hopefully it's of such a non-serious nature that when the NFL investigates it, there's nothing really to it other than some, I don't know, domestic dispute. Again, guys, in case you missed the top of the show, yes, Jerry Jeudy was arrested, but based on the reports we're hearing, there was no mention of anything violent, certainly not in his charges. Naj, there he is. What's up, bro? Love you. Appreciate you. He says, hey, brother, sorry if I missed this. Any thoughts on which game or games you bros are thinking for the meet and greet? Really good question. Really good question. Naj, always on point. Let's take a look here. We'll sketch it out. Now, this is not
would be fun.
This is not for sure, but in most likelihood, it's going to be either the home opener, week 2, or Sunday Night Football, 49ers, week 3. So one of those 2 games, all right? And then that's going to be 18th of September or the 25th. And again, we will give you concrete stuff when it's appropriate. Off the cuff, one of those 2 probably. And then we're going to do one more this year. And it's probably going to be before it gets too cold. So maybe sometime in October at home. Golly, Zach, we could do Jets again. We could.
Again. I was thinking November 20th. That's not too bad.
I mean, you start rolling the dice a little bit on weather, and it makes it a little bit harder sometimes to, if you get super cold or gnarly snow / rain / sleet, whatever, makes it a little bit harder for people to want to get out and about and come meet a couple of their favorite podcast hosts in the tailgate. But nevertheless, yeah, we could do Raiders November 20th.
December 11th would be a lot of fun too. I know it's
my birthday. Hey,
that's true.
So Naj, we'll have more information for you on that within the next week or 2. I promise you. In the meantime, start kind of looking at that week of September 18th through the 25th, which that is 1 week of actual time passing Sunday to Sunday. So for what it's worth, Colby, I'm ready. I love the primetime games also. I'm going with 11 wins, he says. I love it. Yes, and by the way, I just want to mention, I'm going to flash this real quick. BG, good to see you, my friend. I know you're not a fan of Jerry Jeudy, all right? Appreciate the super chat, and it is disappointing regardless. I mean, I don't want you guys to think that we're downplaying whatever seriousness might be involved. Jerry Jeudy was arrested. That in and of itself, very, very bad look. Very bad look for him and the Denver Broncos. If you had a negative view on Jerry Jeudy going into today, Zach, all it does is reinforce whatever your view on him was. And I think, unfortunately, 2 years into his career as a Bronco, you mention his name to a Bronco fan, and more likely than not, you're going to get some kind of a negative reaction. So you're not alone in that, Brian. But let's just hope he can bounce back from this.
Yeah, it's confirmation bias for a lot of Judy's detractors, and I wouldn't go so far as to call him a piece of crap, but it's definitely a boneheaded decision putting yourself in that situation when you're in a make or break 2022 campaign, quite frankly. You haven't established yourself as a first-round worthy draft pick quite yet, quite honestly, and you're faced with a tantalizing season playing with Russell Wilson and all those receivers, and you're going to make a boneheaded decision like that? I don't know.
Aaron Peluso, a newer name on Super Chat. Welcome. Thank you. It might not be your exact first Super Chat, but I know it's not. It's one of your first at the very least. So we do appreciate it. Welcome. He says, I think the Broncos can sweep the Raiders and the Chiefs this year. Fingers crossed. P.S. I'm calling off work for the London game. Believe that. LOL. Does that mean you're going to make the trip, Aaron? Or just, you work on a Sunday and it's freaking butt early Sunday morning? I mean, you're going to have to get up. I'm not going to say when the cock crows, but you're going to have to get up early if you don't want to miss any of that game. 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time kick. Now, if you're one of the great members of Broncos country that's not in the Mountain Time zone and you're East Coast, 9:30 on a Sunday, hey, that's no problem. Even 8:30, you might be pushing it for some people on a weekend. 8:30, a lot of people don't want to get up that early on a Sunday, but 9:30, hey, you can live with that. 7:30, yeah. It's you're going to just make sure you set your alarms, have your coffee ready just like the Broncos for breakfast, dudes, and you'll be glad you got up early.
Speaking of Broncos for breakfast, we're going to try to take that show on the road. Scott and I want to get out to London to see the game and hopefully meet up with some of you. We're trying to make that happen. We'll keep you guys updated, but yeah, hope to see you there.
That would be awesome. No way in Sam Hill am I going to be in an airplane for that long, but I would love to see that. Zeus throwing down stars as well on Facebook. This is why he is Zeus. All right. This is why he is the first face etched on the MHH Mount Rushmore. Love you, big dog. Okay. We are at 44 minutes. Tonight, we got to keep things pretty tight right on the 1 hour mark because we have lots of things we have to get to outside of the podcast for you, our great readers. Kendrick Ware, consistency. Hashtag consistency for Kendrick Ware. Day in, day out. Love it. Appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. He says, what's up, my guys? Just wanted to hop in and say Broncos country, let's ride. MHH for life. Kendrick, dude, you have been so consistent. We appreciate that. As a small token of our appreciation, dude, send us an email, milehighhuddle@gmail.com. Give us your t-shirt size and your shipping address. Let us send you a little something as a thank you for being so consistent. It's a small thing we can do. Thank you, Kendrick.
For sure. Appreciate you, Kendrick. Thank you.
All right, let me see here. Michaela, I'm not sure. Are the super chat rankings updated, Scott? Okay, we'll pull it up, Michaela. We'll get that in just a second. Jacob Foster throwing down. Good to see you, my friend. Appreciate the stars. The Duchess, money enhances your true character. Talking about how could people who are wealthy, make such boneheaded decisions or even be unhappy. But it's true. If you are a generous person having money, you got to be careful because you can be taken advantage of. If you are a selfish person, having money only feeds into that the more, and it can take you down a lonesome, bitter road. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, your character or lack thereof, because money can heighten the flaws that you have inside. And if you don't have character, it's going to make that very apparent. And if you followed any bit of the herd depth trial, can't believe we're talking about this of all
Here
night
we are.
tonight, but yeah,
Here we are.
But you would know that money can hide those flaws.
And money can't buy me love either. I mean, let's face it, right? We're talking Depeche Mode. We might as well quote the Beatles. Howard, what's going on, dude? Newer name. Welcome. Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate helping us keep the lights on, Howard. Big T says, since tomorrow is Friday the 13th, go get your hockey goalie mask. It's Jason from the horror movies. And the only Friday the 13th of this year, I'm going to be brave and say 13 wins. Let's see. There we go. Well, I got to turn it like this. There, 13 wins. I feel it, dude. I could see it. I'm going to take the slide over on a 10.5 wins over and under. I'm going to say I see 12 wins. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, anywhere from I think 11 to 12 is a pretty fair, honestly, realistic projection.
Again, we're not predicting this based off Drew Lock and Vic Fangio this time around. All right, we're talking about although the empirical evidence isn't really there for, say, Nathaniel Hackett, it's there for Russ, and I'm gonna kind of lean on that to inform some of my predictions this offseason. Gary, okay, I'm still going 13-4, but I'll be happy if the Broncos only get 10 wins. Yeah, dude. I mean, they got 9 in 2016, dang close. Still missed the playoffs, but the last time this team won double-digit games, they won the Super Bowl, Zach. So there's that.
Yeah, it's hard for a team that's been as bad as the Broncos have been to poo-poo 10 wins as like something that's not good enough. But when you bring in Russell Wilson, I think the expectation is you swing for the fences, and the fences aren't at 10 wins. The fences are 13, 14 wins and cruising into the postseason. I'd be happy with that record, but by no means would I be satisfied because I'm expecting at the minimum 11 victories.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Clayton.
Clayton, good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you. One of our great supporters on Facebook. As I pull up the super chat rankings, got to tip my cap to Michael Ronquillo, who I know is going to be top 5. And tonight, the rankings are updated, not counting tonight's stream. So, Michael, without even looking yet, I know you're going to be in the top 5, and this only solidifies that. Thank you, buddy. He says, great show tonight, Chad and Zach on the Mile High Huddle. Let's ride and go Broncos. His second super chat of the night. We love you. We appreciate you, Mike.
Thank you so much, Michael. We appreciate you.
Seriously, dude. Means the world to us. And without further ado, let me go ahead and pull up the super chat rankings for our great YouTube community here to see where you stand. All right. Top 5 finishers on super chat. Those 5 names go into a hat. We draw. The winner gets a Demaryius Thomas jersey and or a Broncos jersey of their choosing. The rankings as it stands, Ethan, a.k.a. the DWI guys, number 1. Michael Ronquillo, number 2. Number 3 is the Duchess, who has climbed. She's at number 3, Michaela Parker. Number 4, D-Dub, a legendary figure. Number 5, Tanner Hulse. And at 6, we got the Shane Tuttle, who's a newer name that's been climbing. Really cool to see. Sam Bam 7, Mark, the God King from Georgia, 8, Casey Nickel 9, Mark Schrader ranking on YouTube and Facebook. I mean, that's boss level. Naj going to be climbing. Kendrick going to be climbing. So there you have it. We appreciate each and every one of you. And if I didn't mention your name and you've thrown down a super chat this month, just know you are helping us keep the lights on here at MHH.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, guys and gals, for tuning in and supporting the show as always. That was the Huddle Up podcast. I believe that was all the I think we're good for tonight, Chads. I looked at the comment section. So
sorry, guys. It's my fault. We got to cut out right now.
That was the Huddle Up podcast, guys. We are off until Sunday, same time, same place. Until then, follow us on Twitter at Huddle Up Pod. You can follow the main account on Twitter at Mile High Huddle. You can follow Chad on Twitter at Chad and Jensen. You can follow myself at Kelberman NFL. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch, you know where it is, huddleuppod.com. And be sure to follow facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. Like that page and follow that page. Guys, if you haven't, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if you can't do those things, please do these 3 things. Subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
Yes, it does. And we just cherish each and every one of you. It sounds corny, but we do. Thank you for being with us. You might be listening to this after the fact as an on-demand podcast. I mean, there's 40 some odd thousand of you that listen on the RSS feed, whether it's Apple or Spotify. So even if you're not in the live chat, just know if you are just by listening, you obviously are supporting what we do here. And so we appreciate you being in the chat with us live, throwing down a super chat. I mean, stars. Golly, she's climbing. She's already got a couple of jerseys, as she can see in her profile pic. She's won fair and square. She's gunning for another. The Duchess with the bomb. She says, "I must climb the rankings." LOL. Way too competitive.
Way too kind is what.
That's what makes you a great Broncos fan. That competitive streak and just your heart and your kindness, as Zach mentioned. Love you so much.
Thank you so much, Michaela. What a great note to end on. I think that's going to do it though for us, guys. Chad, have a great weekend. Scott.
Hold on, I got a shout out. Hold on, real quick. Real quick shout out. Tim Hoffman on Facebook. Dude, you demand. Gary Palmer, Zeus, Anthony Grove, Jacob Foster, Charlie Young, Travis Weber, Miguel Santistevan, Colby C. Collier, Andrew Baker, and George Fox, and then our great Super Chat superstars, the Duchess, John Sandoval, Sam Bam, Michael Ronquillo, BG, a.k.a. Brian Greenfield, Rock Chalk Broncos, Naj, Zeus again, Aaron Peluso, Kendrick Ware, Howard T. Much love and respect. We'll see you.
Have a great weekend, guys. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.
You've been listening to the Huddle Up Podcast. Join Broncos Country's deep divers at milehighhuddle.com to keep the conversation going.